saw were at least €2, sometimes €5 to use. This was in December of 2016. I was in
Oops.
touch with Germany and Belgium, and my blah blah car host told me that the UK was similar. Germany's train stations consistently smelled of stale pee, and I suspect this was a consequence of having to pay to use the restroom. A clean restroom is nice, but if the result of requiring payment is people just peeing in open spaces, I also don't think the trade-off is worth it. No American lemonade. Apparently some restaurants will just serve you something similar to Sprite if you request lemonade in some countries in Europe. Ah, this is because in Europe, lemonade is a completely different beverage. I only learned this the other week on the internet, but our lemonade is generally a clear, sparkling, carbonated liquid. From what I can gather, the lemonade you guys have over there is quite difficult to get a hold of over here. Lots of shops here in the UK sell Sicilian lemon, which is a cloudy yellow flat liquid that is tarter than lemonade. It sounds similar to the descriptions I've read of American lemonade. It kind of boggled my mind that I've grown up consuming American media for the past 20 years and yet never realized that lemonade meant a very different thing to you guys until literally last week. I'm curious, is lemonade used as a mixer in alcoholic drinks over there in the States? It's probably the second or third most popular over here after Coca-Cola and possibly tonic water. But I can't imagine vodka with Sicilian lemon going down quite so easily. Some of these comments really show just how misinformed Americans can be. Okay, so while the narrator, as a rule, greatly prefers life over here in his undisclosed European country, he doesn't think that the points our friends from the US are making are completely invalid. Being a tourist in some parts of the EU is very different to living here, and back when I was a lowly backpacker, I kind of had a lot of the same complaints. We can't blame them for experiencing the brunt of all the tourist stuff that we specifically target them with. Drinks not having ice in them. Cold drinks are where it's at. You can't just get a glass of water at a restaurant there. You have to pay for a bottle. That was the most annoying thing about Europe to me. Which country did you go to? You can certainly get a glass of water for free in the UK, as it's required by law. Nothing really. As a middle-class worker, my life would actually be a lot better in Europe. Free healthcare. That's whack, yo. Yes, this is a joke. As a Brit now living in the US for the last 6.5 years, there are many things I don't miss about home, including an obvious one, but yes, the population density. Just feeling overcrowded all the time. Too many people smoking in public and carelessly around young children. Also, the crazy price of gas, petrol. Rain year-round. It rains a bit here too, but nowhere near as much. I don't miss it getting dark at 3:30 p.m. in the winter either. The litter everywhere and just the general lack of care about surroundings. Gum and spit on pavements is especially disgusting. I also don't miss the lack of variety with ethnic restaurants. I know I'm somewhat spoiled for choice in my area, but back home it was Indian, Chinese, or Nando's if you didn't want a kebab or fish and chips. There's probably more, but that'll do for now. All of the weirdo beggars who just use little tricks to get you to give them money. All dressed up and painted silver, fake handicaps, gypsies tying stuff to my arm and following me around with it, street artists. If I had to deal with these obscenities every single day, I'd lose my freaking cool and go Beyblade on their butts. European street layouts. It adds character to a city, but it's a total witch to navigate, especially when driving. Your seemingly lax justice system for truly horrific crimes. If someone is kidnapped and tortured, the victim of the unspeakable act, and then murdered by someone, it should either be the government putting that person down, or it's going to be me. There's nothing that can convince me otherwise. I get your personal feelings, but objectively, you're completely wrong. Prison shouldn't be about punishment, but about reintroduction into society. In the US, reoffending rates are extremely high at around 70%. For contrast, it's like 20% in Norway. I get your personal feelings don't agree with this, but the European system just works so much better. I'm glad we don't have British people. Enough said. A new language every state. The EU. Who needs Germans making decisions for Greece? The fact that you could be criminally charged for hate speech in some countries, Article 13, the out-of-control immigration in some of the others, pickpockets, and how expensive some things are. Also, as a hobby shooter, I dislike the weapon laws over there. God damn it, those pesky lawmakers taking away my hate speech, it's so oppressive. Never been, but I watch an unhealthy amount of traveling shows, and sometimes I'm shocked at how small the kitchens are. Also, the driving...
Joulun edulliset pehmeät paketit. Plyssihuppari 14,99. Lasten plyssihaalari 7,99. Nämä ja muut ihanat lahjaideat nyt Lidlistä. Satolla ei asuminen yllätä. Niin hankit sitten yllätyksiä tavallasi. Sato.
All the kitchens are. Also, the driving seems very scary in some places. Europeans who absolutely crap all over Americans when there's questions like, what about the US is weird to Europeans, but can't take it when Americans throw in their 2 cents. I'm an American who's been to 14 countries in Europe, many of them more than once, because I genuinely love to travel over there, and to be honest, I don't have much to complain about. I haven't really encountered much rudeness, because I expect a more cold approach from Europeans as a general personality trait, so it doesn't bother me. Someone on the metro in Rome tried to get their hands in my downstairs area once. That kind of sucked, but I still returned a year later because really that can happen anywhere to a woman.
Ooh, come on, come on, come on, come on. One more.
To me was in Paris last year when I had to
Yes.
defend a friend who was being bothered by someone trying to sell her something on
Ooh,
Champs-Élysées
that's
near the Eiffel Tower. I
definite
told the friend
PB
and told him to leave her alone.
on
He
transition
proceeded to
for
scream
me.
in my face and attempted to shine a laser pointer in my eyes for the next 30 minutes. That really sucked. Viewing from the Trocadero area seems a bit more pleasant. All in all, I've had wonderful times in Europe, but it seems as though many Europeans grow more hostile towards Americans as each day passes. So I probably won't return for a while, and will instead look into visiting more of South America in the future. If Americans are so dumb and suck so much, I, as a traveller, will simply go elsewhere. Okay, so I went to France for a school trip, and I could accept the extreme amounts of bread, the lack of hospitality, the lack of free refills, but I couldn't understand the smaller cars. Like, they look the same everywhere, and even the American cars there are smaller. After a while, I thought I just didn't sleep enough, and they were normal size. I got so used to those cars and figured I was insane. Once I got back to the US, I almost screamed when I saw a real truck and realized I wasn't crazy.
People who have met their online friends, what made you instantly regret it? Met my best friend at the time on League of Legends. After talking every day for 3 years, I ended up moving to a state much closer to him, so we decided to finally meet. We talked about all the things we'd do together and how awesome it would be. I loved him so much. He was there for me through so much and was a wonderful friend. He had a new girlfriend at the time of our meetup and he brought her along with him. I had no problem with this because I'd love to meet the woman who makes him happy. It was abundantly clear from the get-go that she wasn't a real big fan of me. I did my best to be kind and still had tons of fun. I didn't hear from my friend much after that. A mutual good friend of ours messaged me, and when I asked about my best friend, they said his girlfriend was telling people that I was basically an awful person for whatever reason. 3 years later and he's engaged to this woman, and I'm happy for him, but I haven't spoken to him in those 3 years. I still miss him every day, and I wish I could be there for him on his wedding day. Not instant regret, but did make me realize things could have gone badly if this friend hadn't been a good human. There was a guy I used to play Halo 2 with all the time. We were playing Halo one day, and I made some off-the-wall comment about how bad traffic was due to them redoing one of our local roads. He said his town was redoing a lot of roads too. I think I had a friend over, or coming over, and I forgot to mute my mic and said the road he lived on, asking when he had to leave to come over. Anyways, my Xbox buddy was like, holy crap, do you live in XYZ? And I told him, yeah. Turns out he lived like 5 miles away from me on the other side of town. We ended up meeting up, and I was about 11 or 12 at the time. He was like 17, and he went and bought me a burger and milkshake and we chatted. Pretty cool dude from what I remember. But when I got home that night, I thought about how different that could have been if he wasn't just some high schooler trying to make a kid's night with a burger and shake. My brother met a girl in person that he'd known for 4 or 5 years online, during which time they kind of had an online relationship. She had brought her friend with her to meet him, and while they were sitting around a table awkwardly making conversation, with my brother apparently quite shocked at how bad she looked in person compared to how she looked online, and having absolutely no interest in her other than his friends, the girl sent her friend a message saying, "Oh my god, get me out of here, he's looking at me like he wants to jump me," but she accidentally sent it to my brother. What ensued was likely incredibly painful to be a part of. My brother showed her his phone and looked at her in disgust. Met a girl I really liked on World of Warcraft, but she lived in another country. after living there for 4 months, I slowly realized she was crazy as hell. Huge mood swings paired with a lot of aggression. I ended up getting stabbed in the side by her while asleep.
Yes.
After getting out of the hospital, I took the first plane back home. She's still in a psychiatric hospital. I have a weird story about a lesbian I met online and eventually IRL. For reference, I'm a bi girl. We started talking after I made a comment on the lesbian forum about being a single lesbian mom. I still didn't know if I was bi or lesbian at the time. We started messaging a lot, hundreds of texts a day. This included some sexy messages and pictures too. But she was always obsessed with my daughter, like almost demanding pictures of her and updates on her.
Come on.
Eventually, we arranged to meet up. When we finally see each other in person, she looks
Let's
shocked and
get.
asks where my daughter was. I said she was being babysat
Yes.
by my mom so we can have a date. I could tell this threw her off a little bit. After our date, we started hooking up at my place. Even then, she was still asking about her. After this, can I meet her? Will you let me babysit? Do you think she'll start calling me mommy? I was like, chill, she's 1.5. This, combined with her being obsessed with my daughter's stuff, including stealing a pacifier, a dirty onesie, and going through the diaper pail, I decided this lady's crazy. She ended up stalking me for a while, but I was moving back in with my mom anyway, so I
realized
managed to escape. I was 13 and had a 20-year-old pen pal in Hong Kong, both of us female. We met on Tumblr and emailed each other regularly. My parents were CC'd in all of our correspondence, and we basically just talked about our cultures. About a year of us talking went by, and she said that her university
That's my
boundary still
PB.
abroad in Europe
Yes,
semester,
come
and
on.
she chose my country.
Over
I
700k
was excited.
transition.
However,
Yes.
some time went by and our friendship kind of faded, to the point where I'd forgotten she was even coming to my country. About 2 weeks before she was supposed to come, she emailed me that her student accommodation had to be cleaned out, so she couldn't access it on the night she arrived. She needed a place to stay for 1 night. I asked her to come, and she agreed to pick her up from the airport with me, and that she could stay with us for 1 night. I mean, we trusted this girl. I was very open about my friendship with her.
GG.
We had